Well, good morning and welcome to the Morning Report. It is Thursday, uh, almost at September again, February 16, 2023. We appreciate you being here this morning. Oh my goodness, it has been a day already. It just started. It's just been a day. And we are going to take some time today. And that's why we weren't dark earlier. We weren't on earlier, and we're going to spend some time today watching the memorial service for our friend Shirley Huzar. It was live streamed. It was live streamed by the church, Bridge Point Church, I believe, in Twin Mounds, Texas, and we are looking forward to that. And we'll talk about that tomorrow on the morning report. So again, stay with us. Today we got two stories, both sort of leading back to the kind of stuff that we used to work on with urban game changers, especially in California. Not so much here in Florida, but you know, on the one of them, because it's immigration. California was being overrun and is still being overrun. And it's one of those things that Shirley was very concerned about because with the overrunning of illegal immigrants in California, it sort of made the room to grow for the indigenous Black people. When I say indigenous, I mean people who were born there, who grew up there, to spread out and get things and do things when all the attention and money and resources were directed towards those illegal aliens who weren't supposed to be there. People who were bringing drugs across the border. We learned about that years ago, but until, keep saying this, until Buffy's got a crack problem, the nation doesn't have a crack problem. Until, Nicole is, pregnant at 14, we don't have a teen pregnancy problem. You know, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But in any case, so we work on that kind of stuff. So this story is about another woke city, woke state, really, that has decided their wokeness is causing them a bigger problem than they had anticipated. And what they're doing, quite frankly, is kind of funny, and we'll tell you about it. And then there's a children's hospital worker that is spilling the beans on transgender childcare at a major hospital in a major city. Spilling the tea. They're saying stuff that we already know. We're saying stuff that you probably already knew, but we just needed that confirmation. And and I just found out that a star, somebody who is a movie star for a long time, has a horrific disease, and our prayers go out to Bruce Willis, and we'll talk a little bit about what Mr. Willis is suffering with, and invite you to pray. Okay, we're back with more of the morning report. Let me find it right after these messages. Welcome back to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We appreciate you greatly. I'd love to know if you're watching the Morning Report on the new Morning Report channel or you're watching it on the Legacy Fightback Media channel. But when we decided we're just going to post them both to the same places. I didn't get to post the other one because it had copyrighted audio, but we know what that is, so we're going to make sure that doesn't happen when we send that one over there. It's a change in my workflow. Ooh, another change in my workflow, but that's okay. What's interesting is that there is a rather leftist woke city that has decided that their immigration status as a sanctuary city, maybe they should reconsider. Uh, I, I, I love it. I do. I do. Uh, which throws a wrench into the left's argument about such things. Uh, it's already been covered in town hall earlier in the week how New York City is beginning to do this crazy thing. They are sending illegal immigrants north. No, not to Maine, not to Vermont, but to Canada. They are shipping them out of the country. Off to Ontario you go, Jose. That is, I'm sorry. It's funny. You don't think that's funny? I think it's flipping hysterical. The province of Quebec responded, asking Mayor Eric Adams, Democrat from Mayor of New York, efforts to provide illegal immigrants with a bus ticket to Canada. Stop. New York has styled itself as a sanctuary city. Now is sharing the burden of the border crisis in towns in Arizona and Texas, which are obviously much smaller than New York and even Quebec. It reports that broke that another city that is reconsidering sanctuary city laws due to, you know what happens? Crime. San Francisco. District Attorney Brooks Jenkins is asking for an exception to the city's sanctuary city policy meant to protect illegal immigrants. According to Fox 2 KTVU, Jenkins said that two suspects in serious crimes that occurred in San Francisco have been discovered living abroad. The only way to seek justice over the crimes they allegedly committed is to work with the federal government to get the suspects back to the city. And now in sanctuary cities, they have decided that they're not going to work with federal authorities in immigration cases. Here's what Jenkins says: we won't let dangerous criminals evade prosecution simply by leaving the United States. Or you could go across the border, kill someone, a Mexican can kill some 16-year-old black kid in Los Angeles and then just slip back across the border. California is a sanctuary state. Not going to cooperate with federal authorities to find that individual and get them back and send them to jail. Or in Texas, well, in Texas, no sanctuary cities in Texas except for where is that? Keep wherever weird. Yeah, there. It's interesting, isn't it? Reportedly, one man is a suspect in a 2009 murder case. The other suspect has a warrant out for as many counts for child sexual abuse. But the city's sanctuary laws do not allow the district attorney's office to work with immigration enforcement, ICE, or the Department of Homeland Security on deportation matters. The feds will not agree to extradite suspects unless the city notifies them if they are released from custody. So if the local guys got them and they release them, they're just gone. They just get on a plane, get on a boat, get on a helicopter, get on a Chinese balloon, and off they go. Jenkins also says this: we can't allow in San Francisco for people to commit heinous crimes like murder and child rape and then just be able to flee our jurisdiction to avoid prosecution. It's one of those things that we call unintended consequences. And for any number of policies, left, whatever the policy is, because most of these things are knee jerk and politically based and not thought out, there are all these unintended consequences. And this is one. No one sits down on the table and goes, what if somebody commits a really horrible crime? Actually commits a crime, murders somebody, rapes a child. Should we just let them go? Shouldn't there at least be a subsection in this law? Never thought about it, did they? Excuse me, because they never do. KRON Channel 4 reported that investigators also believe that a, quote, significant percentage, end quote, of people selling drugs in the city are illegal immigrants. Surprise, surprise. Quote, it is time to withdraw the protection of sanctuary from the undocumented immigrants trafficking fentanyl in our streets, City Supervisor Matt Dorsey said. He is proposing legislation to change San Francisco sanctuary city policy to exclude illegal aliens who are arrested dealing fentanyl. Good. Good. These people are dealing in death and feel that they are untouchable because San Francisco, like New York, have made them untouchable. And they know it. The cartels, the bosses in the cartels know it. Go there, wreak havoc, do your madness. Just come back here. They're not even gonna try to find you. So we got going on. With Adams putting immigrants on buses and sending them to Quebec, that's a hoot. I wonder if people in Congress, the left in Congress, has anything to say about that. How cruel that would be to send these people, somewhere where they've never been. Wonder if Kamala Harris has some take on how cruel that is. Like when our Governor DeSantis, happened to send a group of illegal immigrants to one of the nicest, most lush, most luxurious places in the country, Martha's Vineyard. And they declared a humanitarian emergency because there were 50 extra people on the island. 50. I wonder if Kamala Harris has any harsh words for Eric Adams, mayor of New York, by sending some of these illegal immigrants to a first world city like Quebec. You think? Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, we're going to take a little break. We're back with more of the Morning Report right after these messages. Welcome back. We appreciate it again. This is the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We appreciate you being where you are right this very minute. Whether you're listening on Spotify, whether you're listening on Spreaker, wherever you're listening to this podcast, because it's just everywhere. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever. Or you're watching it on YouTube, either the Fight Back Media channel or the Morning Report channel. Yes, we're putting it everywhere. There'll be a different version on the Morning Report channel. For those of you who don't have as much time, you can speed it up, and there won't be any 4-minute or 2-minute spots. We're going to keep those on the Fight Back Media channel. How about that? At least for the meantime. All right. It's been a lot of talk, and especially in Florida. Florida is tightening up this whole idea of trans kid care, because what we've learned is that trans kid care is just if the child, no matter how young, decides that they are not or they don't feel like they're their biological sex. There isn't any investigation medically or psychologically. The only thing to do is affirm that gender and just go with it. That's, again, a whole buttload, 64 gallons of problems. Townhall.com yesterday covered this week. Jamie Reed, a former healthcare worker at a transgender clinic, spoke out in a bombshell report in the Free Press about how morally and medically appalling, quote, gender affirming, end quote, healthcare is on young people. In the report, Reed recounted her experience working as a case manager at the Washington University Transgender Center in St. Louis Children's Hospital. There, Reed worked for 4 years and saw around 1,000 or so young people who were struggling with their gender identity. Um, they said, I left the clinic in November of last year because I could no longer participate in what was happening there. She said, by the time I departed, I was certain that the way that the American medical system is treating these patients is the opposite of the promise we make to, quote, do no harm. Instead, we are permanently harming the vulnerable patients in our care, Reed wrote in her piece. It's the Hippocratic Oath. And one of the tenets of that oath is to do no harm. Don't make the person worse. If you find them, do not make it worse. And according to Reed, she claims that these doctors and these counselors are making it worse. In addition, Reed claimed that, quote, anyone who raised doubts about the care ran the risk of being called a transphobe. According to Reed, allowing minors to receive hormone therapy treatment was simple. Kids could get started on, quote, gender-affirming treatment after a couple of quick visits with a therapist. I think I'm a boy. I think I'm a boy. I think I'm a boy. I need to have my breast chopped off, and I need to grow a penis. Hit me up, doc. And in some cases, they would take patients from the inpatient psychiatric unit at hospitals for treatment. Now, they already have these kids, these children inpatient in the psychiatric ward, and they would take them for hormone treatments. The mental health of these kids was deeply concerning. There were diagnoses like schizophrenia, PTSD, bipolar disorder, and more. Often they were already on a fistful of pharmaceuticals because that's what we do, right? You're feeling sad, take this medicine. Now, it may make you want to kill yourself. That happens. This was tragic, but unsurprising given the profound trauma some had been through. Yet, no matter how much suffering or pain a child had endured, or how little treatment and love they had received, our doctors viewed gender transition, even with all the expense and hardship that it entailed, as the solution. So, whatever it was, well, at some point, we're going to have to chop off those breasts, close up that vagina, give you the jab. All in all, Reed said that the experience felt like building a plane while we're flying in it. On Thursday, St. Louis Children's Hospital Children's released a statement calling Reed's allegation disturbing. Here's what they said. Here's what the hospital said. We are alarmed by the allegations reported in the article published in the Free Press describing practices and behaviors the author says she witnessed while employed at the university's Transgender Center. We are taking this matter very seriously and have already begun the process of looking into the situation to ascertain the facts. As always, our highest priority is the health and well-being of our patients. We are committed to providing compassionate, family-centered care to all of our patients, and we hold our medical practitioners to the highest of professional and ethical standards. Blah, 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 freaking blah. And you know what'll happen. 6 weeks from now, they'll say, we find that all these claims are unsubstantiated, and this is a disgruntled employee, blah, 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 right? And what Reed knows is, what she better know is that hospital and that mechanism will do the best they can to destroy whatever career she has left. Since Reed's article was published, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, a Republican, announced an investigation into the center, and Senator Josh Hawley, also a Republican, y'all know Josh, is calling for a federal investigation, according to station KSDK. The Washington University Transgender Center isn't the first gender clinic to come under fire. Vanderbilt also was covered as it began offering gender care for kids because it's a big money maker. It's a huge money maker. The revelations led to the center wiping its gender web pages, and Republican lawmakers calling for investigations. Immediately, Vanderbilt suspended all permanent transition operations on minors until further notice. They're just waiting for the heat. They're waiting for somebody else to take the heat, and it looks like this other center is going to take the heat for a while. This is this is terrible. I mean, it just really is awful. It's demonic. Yeah, I wish there was a stronger, more appropriate word, but it's demonic. This is some stuff that the devil would do. If you believe in any sort of devil or evil, that's what this is. Whether you believe in the devil, like we believe in like Christians believe in Satan, fallen angel, or you believe in some sort of negative force, I don't care what you believe. This is evil to do to children who are confused and hurting, and to do it for one reason. Vanderbilt said the quiet part out loud. It's a huge moneymaker. The amount for surgeries and all that comes with having a surgery and follow up and pharmaceuticals, humongous moneymaker. So that's why they're doing it. Just awful. Listen, we got to get out of here. Before we go, though, actor Bruce Willis has been diagnosed with a disease called the cruelest disease you've never heard of, and there's absolutely no cure. Everyone diagnosed with this terrifying mental degenerative disorder will die from it. So, retired actor Bruce Willis is the latest victim. Willis was forced to retire from acting last year, you guys remember, after being diagnosed with aphasia. But his former wife, Demi Moore, posted on social media that has progressed into frontotemporal dementia, or FTD. They announced that he's got this frontotemporal dementia. And what that does is shrinks, according to the Mayo Clinic website, it shrinks the frontal core portion of your brain. And it causes all sorts of behavioral changes like increasing of inappropriate social behavior, loss of empathy, and other interpersonal skills, lack of judgment, lack of inhibition, lack of interest, apathy that sometimes gets mistaken for depression, repetitive compulsive behaviors such as tapping, clapping, smacking lips, decline in personal hygiene. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. You just fail from it. You just fail from it. I don't know Bruce Willis. I don't know Bruce Willis's politics. I don't know Bruce Willis's family, but this is terrible. And we like to pray for his family and for Bruce that in God's sovereignty, that he would touch Bruce, he would touch Mr. Willis today, right now, and reverse this horrific disease. And in doing that, Mr. Willis would see, and the people around him would see God move and only be able to exalt the name of the Lord in this healing. Amen. We got to get out of here, make room for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye bye now.